Hello, good morning from Japan. This is my daily good life meditation, an exercise that I do in the morning to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. Excuse me. Pardon me, allergies. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the challenges and the opportunities that I met. I go over the 8 objectives of my creed, and I plan for the coming day. So first, greetings and welcome to new subscribers to the channel. I'm glad you're here. Also, let me make a note here. Keep my little notebook here. Thoughts come to me. Also, please note that although this video is happening in Japan, this isn't necessarily about Japan. It's my journal. So I'll be talking about myself and my how I handle life and how I'm striving to handle life better every day. Also, I do talk about sensitive subjects here sometimes. Lately, I haven't talked about too many, but death is a big one, so beware of that. And finally, thank you to my supporters for your support. I was at Mini Stop this morning, catching up on all my comments. I called it my engagement hour, and had a melon pan and a cup of coffee, all compliments, and no, I shouldn't say compliments, all thanks to you, those who watch my videos, the members on YouTube, and the supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into it. So I will read and answer comments, but at the end. I do keep notes every day. I'm going to go over my notebook here and go over 3 things. Let's talk about yesterday, where the challenges and the opportunities that I met. Let's go over the creed, and then, like I said before, we'll talk about what's coming up for today. First, last night and yesterday. This is the first time I've seen these three letters here, PEF, which stands for Peaceful, Easy Feeling. This is something that made its appearance 2 weeks ago in my life. Oh, by the way, quick bio, if you're new to the channel. My name's Kurt. I'm an American, retired in Japan, 60 years old, living with my Japanese wife, 60 years old as well, also retired. We're 5 months into our retirement journey, so a lot of these posts and my comments relate to the experience of retirement, because this is significant at this point in our life. A huge life change after 40 years of working for the man, so to speak. To be free on our own is a very different experience. Not as easy as I had ever thought. In fact, it's hard. It's probably one of the harder transitions I've ever made, as ungrateful as that sounds. Still, it is what it is, and that's what this video is about. This is an honest, open reflection of what I'm experiencing and how I'm doing, trying to live a good life. That's why I call it the good life. It's not that I'm bragging that I'm living a good life. It's about my endeavor to live a good life. That's why this is called the Good Life Meditation. Okay, so PEF appeared yesterday. Lasted most of the day. I think it was because of the relief of finding my wallet, and the relief that the construction work is done. But you know how these things don't last, right? I mean, when big stuff comes to an end, soon after, the normalcy of everything comes flowing back. And this is a big one. I'm going to add something I wasn't planning to talk about, but I'll add it here now. A lot of people in my life, my cohort, my age group, the people that I grew up with and spent my life with, are also retiring at this point. And I got a message this morning from someone showing me a screenshot of their countdown to retirement, 7 months and some odd days. Some app that they found, they could actually keep the countdown. And I remember doing the same thing myself. And I just wanted to point out that it's hard for me, because I want to warn people. I want to celebrate their excitement, because I felt it too, and I would not have appreciated anyone offering me, downer comments. But I do want to talk to my friends that are sending me this stuff and say, hey, watch out, because whatever issues you have aren't going away when you retire. The only issues that might go away are those that relate to work, right? If you've got a nasty boss or a coworker, well, you won't have to deal with them anymore. But if you've got unresolved stuff up here, challenges related to your worldview or the values that you hold that may not be well thought out, or or maybe misaligned with how how reality works, that stuff doesn't get fixed by simply stopping work. In fact, what happens is we have more time to deal with that, to have to sit with ourselves, and less money and resources to do anything about it. Namely, distractions, right? Because a lot of what we do, a lot of what we spend, let's get some more tea, or some hot water. A lot of what we do in life is just distracting ourselves from the stuff that we don't want to face. Our own failings and inconsistencies, our own weaknesses, the things we don't like about ourselves. I'm just literally drinking hot water this morning. Work distracts us from that. Hobbies distract us from that. This is why, I get comments every day from people when I talk about how I'm having a hard time with retirement. They're suggesting, well, why don't you just take up fishing? which is a nice suggestion, but it's missing the point, which is it's not about distraction that I'm interested in. It's about the reconciliation of the values that I hold relative to the life that I've lived, and what I can do about that in the remaining time, where these values are discordant with the results that I've experienced in 60 years. Well put. Boy, that put out well. That nailed it right on the square on the head, right? So taking up fishing isn't going to address any of that. Taking up fishing is just going to be further distraction, and I ain't got time for more distraction. Now, true, maybe all these thoughts are moot anyway, right? I mean, if it's really, if the world is in, here's one of those points that I mentioned, that I would talk about sensitive subjects to some people. I don't believe in God. So if there is no God and there are no objective values in the universe, but just simply those subjective values that we choose to adopt and abide in our lives, then is it really necessary to try to further align? Yeah, it is, because I do, even though I don't believe in objective values, I do believe that we can make the world a better place. We can reduce suffering and improve well-being, and that's important to me. So how have I done with that so far, and where have I fallen short? Some people would accuse me of overthinking the matter. It's what I do, right? I don't have I don't have a choice in this matter. I've tried watching Breaking Bad, and I can't get through half an episode before my mind wanders off to, what's the universe all about? I turn it off and I'll go for a walk instead. So it's just the way I'm built. Some of us are built that way. Some others don't need to do this stuff, and to that I kind of envy you if you can just enjoy life and have a hobby and go fishing and just be content in that. I wish I could do that. There's many days I wish I could do that. On the other hand, it's a hell of a lot of fun living this way too. It's a hell of a lot of fun, reading Moby Dick and trying to wrap my mind around the existential worldview that Herman Melville was that I know he had long conversations with Nathaniel Hawthorne over as he was writing Moby Dick, and try to see that and understand it and encapsulate it within his 19th century perspective and worldview. That's how I like living my life. So I'm stuck with this, and I do want to tell people that are on the verge of retirement that it's a blessing and it's a wonderful thing to be free of work, but it's also a big challenge if you've got a lot to think about, and especially if you are not sure that you've lived the life that you want to live. Selfish as that may seem to focus on that, it's nevertheless what it is. And I don't think it is selfish, because trying to tune ourselves to be so that we're living, so that our days are objectively improving the well-being of others and ourselves, that's a good use of time. Wasting, it is. I consider it waste. Wasting our lives away watching reruns on TV. That's not a good use of time. All right. So PEF returned yesterday, and I talked about why. I have this note here. I can barely read it. No skin or present. What the hell? Retirement. What? Oh, no sign of restlessness. That's what it was, relative to the PEF. I didn't feel restless yesterday. I didn't feel like I had to be doing something else. And I think that's because, and I have another note here, I was talking to my wife. It always does me good to talk to Emiko. And we talked a lot yesterday and the day before. That was good. Okay. Regarding opportunity. So let me turn the camera around and show you something. It's a little hard to see, but this is my backyard. This is my balcony. Hey, I had to cut some more plants yesterday. And look how quickly the water kind of drains down from the rain the 2 nights ago. Anyway, oops, that's what kills the connection if I look that way. So I shouldn't move the camera around. Anyway, this is the backyard. All of that stuff. I hope I didn't kill the connection. There's the backyard back there. Do you see this house right there? Well, he's got a small backyard. It extends literally along the edge of these trees to that tree. That's his yard right there, and then his yard goes like that. Anyway, I've seen the man that owns that house. He doesn't live there. But yesterday, Yoko, my sister-in-law, was trimming the orange tree just on our property right here, and she met him somehow. And they got to talking, and it turns out he bought that house 10 years ago. He doesn't live there. He lives in another part of town, but this is his country house, so to speak. He comes here like once a week or on days off and kind of relaxes, because this is kind of a countryside area that we live in. I mean, it's not. I mean, we're in the middle of the city, really, but it's like a countryside in the city. Turns out he's a really nice guy. I've been meaning to meet him, but I haven't had a chance. Turns out he's a really nice guy, and he wanted to talk to Yoko because he noticed that we'd been working the land, and I had actually mowed the grass along the road there that goes in front of his house, and he wanted to invite us to do what we wanted with his yard as well. He said that he has no time to do anything to take care of any of the outside of his house, and he said that if we wanted to trim trees or cultivate the garden or do whatever we want on his property too, that we were welcome to do so. What that basically means now is that we have access. We don't own his land, of course, but maybe we could buy his house in the future, have it set up as a guest house. We don't have access to all of this land to utilize, which is pretty astonishing. So yeah, wow, that's pretty amazing, huh? And I'm going to do that. I'll get busy cleaning up his land. So my 8 objectives of my creed. The Good Life Creed, is as outlined in my book, Going Alone, consists of 8 objectives and 35 principles. The 8 objectives are as follows. First of all, I want to be always ready to die. I want to have my affairs in order, my relationship sound, and my life's work complete. Number 2, I want to make good and effective use of my time so that I'm not wasting my precious days of life. Number 3, I want to develop and maintain good and sound life principles relative to my creed. Number 4, I want to cultivate good emotional reactions so I respond well to the challenges and opportunities that I face. 5, I want to perform good actions relative to my creed. 6, I want to recognize my true limits and true opportunities so I'm operating within the scope of my reasonable capabilities and recognizing what is beyond me, what is reasonably identified as beyond me. Next, I want to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, as I'm trying to do right now. This is contrived. This is not my normal way of speaking. Normally I talk very fast. I haven't talked like that in a long time because I've worked so many years to try to moderate and control my interchange so that I can have a more measured cadence. It gives me time to think in the background. And then lastly, I want to keep my balance, both my body and my mind, so that I'm not stumbling through life. All right, so that's that for that. Now, for today, for the next 24 hours, I have 3 things that I have on my list here. One, I have these succulent plants. I won't turn the camera on. By the way, we should have new Wi-Fi in that. We don't have Wi-Fi in the house right now. I'm just using the broadband. No, not the broadband, but whatever it is, through the ether, the air. And it's poor, the connection is poor. But we should be really fast internet here in the house I won't have the dropping connection like we had yesterday. But I want to do 3 things today. First, I have some succulents down here. I want to pot those succulents. These are all very much retired guy things to do. And then 2, I'm going to build some trellises for the tomatoes that we planted yesterday to grow on. I'm going to use the bamboo in our bamboo forest to do that. I've already got some that were cut previously and nicely dried so I can make little stakes. And then 3, I want to have a little adventure with Rudy. He and I are going to go for a hike. Maybe we'll hike as far as up to Nihondaira. We'll see, which is up there behind me, that mountaintop where the sun is coming over the top. And that's all there is. Let's go through comments and then we'll wrap it up. Whiskey, hi Whiskey, good morning. DT, good morning Kurt, beautiful morning Shizuoka. Thank you, it is a nice morning. Good morning Scott from Toronto. Evening here, a bit warm today. Bag of walnuts, maybe the weird enjoyment in losing the wallet was kind of like a metaphor for life. The adventure and misadventure is where deeper enjoyment can come from. Anyway, what's your favorite type of tea? I think you're right about the misadventure of misadventure. And my favorite type of tea is green tea. And I don't know any of the varieties. All I know is that my wife she's from a tea farming family. She buys the tea and gives it to me, but I don't know what it is. Scott says, life will never be perfect. All one can do is make it incrementally a little better by solving problems and moving on to inevitable new but better problems. Let solving the old problem ones bring about. Well put, Scott, I agree. Whiskey, how come your objective is ready to die? I would push that to the back of the queue. No, I mean the other objectives seem more important. Actually, it's deliberately at the front of the queue because it is the most important objective. Because if I'm ready to die, it is the most important of my objectives. Because if I'm ready to die, that means I have my life in a settled state. I don't have important unfinished business that remains to be done. It causes me to attend to prioritize the most important things in my life to the front of the line, namely keeping my finances in order, because I have dependents who will suffer if I don't have my finances in order and I die, namely my wife. It causes me to make sure that I have my relationships in order, because if I die and I have got sour words with people, then I die with sour words with people and never get a chance to solve those. So if I can remember if I've got, bad, tricky relationship issues, to attend to those, then I can get those taken care of right away. And then 3rd, being ready to die means that I have to have my life's work, if not complete, at least my notes are in order, so that if I die, my daughter can come to and I do, you can almost see it over my shoulder here. I don't want to drop the connection, that top shelf there. That basically has my book Going Alone, and then there's 18 volumes there that are laid out in a row just in front of the Virgin of Guadalupe there. Let me just show you. This is a good opportunity. This top shelf is basically having my life's work in order. Okay, it's all right there. So there's Going Alone, the book that I wrote. And so I imagine I die and my daughter comes up here and she says, well, what am I going to do with Dad's stuff? And I've already told her stuff. There's my book. Hopefully she'll keep it. And then there's 18 books here. If you count them, there's 15 because I'm missing 3, but I'm going to get the remaining others. These are the most important books in my life, and they're all listed at the back of every book I've ever written. I always list these 18 books in the order in which I recommend they are to be read. And so I've left my book, and I've left my recommendation to my daughter. So you know what I mean? So then if I die, I'm not like going, well, there's that manuscript that I didn't finish. No, there's no manuscript that I didn't finish. Everything is done. So I can be at peace in the moment of now, knowing that my life's work is complete, and I raised my daughter. That was the other life's work. My relationships are sound, and my affairs are in order. If I die today, my wife is taken care of for the rest of her, financially. She's taken care of for the rest of her life. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Do you see why that's important? Putting that number 1 means that I'm constantly I'm attending to the most important things in my life, because nothing to me is more important than ensuring my wife's safety in my orbit, not my orbit, in the sphere of my life, and then that what's important to me in terms of life's work is complete. Hope that answers that question. Whiskey, Scott says to Whiskey, because being ready for today to be your last means you have your matters in order. It gives a peace of mind. At least that is why what I wish to achieve that state. What Scott said. Thank you, Scott. That's exactly right. Scott said it much more succinctly than I did, though. Thank you, Scott. All right. Thanks everybody for joining me. And by the way, sorry for the keep moving time around. Still kind of juggling life. I'm hoping to get this down to like a certain time every day, but it's a little bit tricky. But thanks for flexibility. I wish everybody the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.